Welcome back my YouTube channel. Today I will telling about USA top 3 ultra rare 5-cent coin Jefferson Nickel from America. The 1963 Jefferson Nickel is one of those classic American coins that quietly carries a story of history, design, and steady change. Even though it may look ordinary at first glance, this 5-cent coin represents an important era in United States coinage. When we look closely at a 1963 Jefferson Nickel, we discover much more than its small denomination, because every detail connects back to the American spirit of the mid-20th century. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. This portrait was created by artist Felix Schlag, who won a national design competition in 1938. His winning design would go on to appear on the nickel for decades. The portrait is bold, simple, and symbolic of Jefferson's legacy as a writer of the Declaration of Independence and a strong advocate of democracy and education. Around his portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," on the left and "Liberty," with the date 1963 on the right, separated by a small 5-pointed star. The reverse of the coin shows Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, located in Virginia. Schlag's original design earlier faced several modifications, and by 1963 the Monticello design had become sharper and more balanced, though still simple enough to strike in large quantities. Above Monticello is the word "e pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one, the motto of the United States. Below it appear the name Monticello, the denomination 5 cents, and finally United States of America. The coin is made from a copper-nickel alloy, giving it a silver-gray metallic look. In 1963, the United States Mint was producing very large quantities of Jefferson nickels because the coin was heavily used in daily transactions. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 175 million pieces, while the Denver Mint produced over 276 million. Because of this extremely high mintage, most 1963 nickels are considered common. They are still easy to find in circulation today, and millions of them were saved over the years, especially in uncirculated rolls and bags, but even a common coin can become valuable under certain conditions. The value of a 1963 Jefferson nickel depends mostly on its condition and whether it has a D mint mark from the Denver Mint or no mint mark from Philadelphia. A worn 1963 nickel found in pocket change is generally worth its face value of 5 cents. In slightly better condition, such as lightly circulated examples, the price usually goes up to around 10 to 20 cents in the collector market. Where the value becomes more interesting is in high-grade uncirculated coins. A bright, clean 1963 coin with full original mint luster can sell for a few dollars, sometimes $5 to $10 depending on the sharpness of the strike. Collectors especially look for examples with full steps on the Monticello building. This refers to the steps at the base of the building appearing fully detailed and separated. Full steps nickels from the early 1960s are quite difficult to find because the mint did not strike the coins with great precision at that time. A 1963 Jefferson nickel graded with full steps by a major grading company can reach values ranging from $30 to several $100s for the very highest grades. Rare, flawless examples have even sold for much more in competitive auctions. However, these are extremely hard to find and are usually taken from original mint-sealed rolls preserved for decades. Next coin. The 1961 Jefferson nickel from the United States of America is one of those classic mid-20th century coins that carries both historical significance and collector interest. Even though millions were produced, this coin holds a special place in American numismatics because it represents the early years of the modern nickel series and the enduring legacy of Thomas Jefferson's portrait on U.S. coinage. Today, we explore its history, design, key features, and its current value in the coin market. The Jefferson Nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The U.S. Mint held a public design competition, and the winning design was created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag. His artwork introduced the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. These elements have remained defining symbols of the nickel for decades. By 1961, the design was well established, but the coin still had the charm of pre-modern minting techniques, making each strike slightly unique. On the obverse of the 1961 nickel, you will find the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Around his portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1961. The engraving style reflects the simple yet elegant design approach of the early Jefferson nickels. Even after many years, when a 1961 nickel is found in high-grade condition, the details of Jefferson's hair, cheek, and collar can appear sharp and visually appealing. Turning to the reverse, you see Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate. The building is centered with its dome, pillars, and stairway clearly engraved. Above the structure is the word Monticello, and below are the inscriptions, 5 cents, and United States of America. The motto, E pluribus unum, appears above the image. Collectors often examine the steps of Monticello closely. Sharp, fully visible steps increase a coin's grade and significantly raise its value. The 1961 Jefferson nickel was minted at two locations: Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark, and Denver, which used the D mint mark. Denver struck a far larger number of nickels in 1961, making most Denver issues quite common. The Philadelphia strikes, while also common, included some higher quality examples sought after by collectors. In circulated condition, the 1961 nickel is generally worth only its face value of 5 cents. This is because hundreds of millions were minted, and many still survive today. However, the value begins to rise when the coin is found in higher grades. Uncirculated examples, especially those with clean surfaces, sharp steps on Monticello, and no signs of wear, can be worth much more to collectors. A typical uncirculated 1961 nickel may range from $1 to $5 depending on grade. But coins with exceptional luster, strong strikes, or full steps details can command higher values. Some full steps examples from the Philadelphia Mint, graded by professional grading services, can reach $40 to $150 or more depending on quality. The 1961 D with full steps is significantly rarer and can sell for far higher amounts, sometimes even reaching several $100s in top condition. Next coin. The 1994 Jefferson nickel from the United States of America is a small but meaningful piece of modern American coinage. Though it looks simple at first glance, this coin carries a long history, a familiar portrait, and a collectible value that depends on condition, rarity, and mint mark. Many people come across a 1994 nickel in old change, drawers, or inherited coin collections, and they wonder whether it holds any special value. To understand its worth, it's important to explore its background and what makes some 1994 nickels more desirable than others. The Jefferson Nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His portrait remained mostly unchanged for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. The 1994 issue continues this long design tradition that collectors appreciate because of its consistency and historical significance. On the obverse of the 1994 nickel, you see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The inscriptions include, "In God We Trust," on the left and "Liberty," with the year 1994 on the right. The small mint mark, which can be either P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, is placed near the right side of the coin. The reverse of the coin features Jefferson's mansion, Monticello, along with the inscriptions, "E pluribus unum, Monticello," and 5 cents, followed by "United States of America." This classic design was created by Felix Schlag and remained the standard artwork until the early 2000s. The 1994 nickel was produced in very large numbers, making it a common date in circulation. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of coins, and the Denver Mint struck a similarly large quantity. Because of this, most circulated 1994 nickels have only face value, meaning they are worth 5 cents. Collectors seeking this coin for a date and mint mark set usually prefer coins in uncirculated condition, which is where the value begins to rise. A circulated 1994 nickel that has wear, scratches, or discoloration typically holds no premium. But an uncirculated example with sharp details and clean surfaces can be worth more. In mint state grades, especially MS 64, MS 65, and higher, the coin becomes attractive to collectors who focus on high-quality modern nickels. A graded 1994 nickel in MS-65 often sells for around $1 to $2, while examples in MS-66 or MS-67 can be worth several dollars to collectors due to their higher eye appeal and scarcity in such clean condition. There is also a special version known as the 1994 S-proof nickel. These proof coins were not released into circulation but were sold directly to collectors by the U.S. Mint. Proof coins have mirror-like surfaces and extra sharp details from a special minting process. A 1994 S-proof nickel in perfect condition, especially if graded PR69 or PR70, can carry more value, usually between $2 to $10 depending on demand and grade quality. Most 1994 nickels do not contain silver or any rare metal. They are made from the standard copper-nickel alloy used for decades. Because the mintage was so high, their rarity comes not from low production but from finding one in exceptional condition. Coins with full steps on Monticello, meaning all the steps are sharply struck and fully visible, can also command a premium among advanced Jefferson nickel collectors. In conclusion, the 1994 Jefferson nickel is a common but important part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series. While most examples are worth face value, uncirculated coins, high-grade specimens, and proof versions hold additional value. For collectors, it represents a classic design, a piece of American history, and a reminder of how even everyday coins can carry a story and collectible interest. If you find a 1994 nickel in excellent condition, it may be worth setting aside for your collection. Thanks for watching.